Welcome to the night show. Today's guest is the wonderful Miss Sarah Hips. Stay tuned. The night show. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on another show. We're here in Denver, Colorado, and I'm here with my best friend in the whole wide world. One of them, Sarah Hips. You might know her from, I don't know where you might know her from. Maybe a magazine cover, maybe Instagram.
Not a magazine cover.
Okay, well, it's coming. We're manifesting it.
It is coming.
In 2018, we're going to manifest it. We're going to manifest it, girl. Is that okay? Can I do that?
I plan on being on a magazine cover.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. Thanks for agreeing to do this. This is super random, and I just flew in from Chicago, so.
Yeah, well, you know.
I wanted to talk about just everything you've been doing, with your fitness stuff, but I know there's a deeper layer to that. And I think one of the things that really made me want to talk to you was the post that you had made about your bout with depression. And I thought it was super honest, super open, and I don't know, it inspired me. It made me it reinforced something in me as to why I started all this. So I was wondering if you could kind of talk about it and just kind of, however comfortable you are.
Talk about the post.
Yeah, and then, the backstory.
Yeah, so I can't remember if it was Mental Health Awareness Month or...
Yeah.
Oh, you know what it was? It was after Anthony Bourdain killed himself.
Okay. Yeah, I remember.
And which was a week after Kate Spade killed herself.
Right.
And just kind of looking at and listening to a lot of the posts and comments that people were making about talking about mental health and whatnot, how we have to remove the stigma. And I think that even using the word stigma to talk about removing a stigma makes it even feel like a stigma. And so it's, it's the idea that maybe if someone has a mole and you're like, don't talk about the mole.
Right.
And it makes the mole even bigger.
Mole.
Yeah,
I got you.
So I just went ahead and I was like, you know what? I wanna share, because people really not depression or suicide isn't a dramatic thing,
right.
But people really dramatize. It's how would we have known he was sad? Or, even rich people, the way that people were talking about it just kind of felt very grandiose. And so I just went ahead and wrote a post which just spoke to the fact that in 2012, beginning to mid 2012, I attempted suicide by overdosing on pills. And I ended up in the middle of the night without realizing it, regurgitating the pills. And, I slept for a really long time, and then I woke up and it was Sunday and I had to get the laundry done because I had work on Monday. They're just things had to get done because it was the beginning of the week. I wasn't planning on being there. But I went through the whole steps of writing a letter to my parents, writing a letter to my brother, who had just given me the title of being godmother of his newborn son. I wrote a letter to Garrett because I wanted him to know that I really loved him, and I wished that being his godmother and his aunt was enough to cure what had been going on with me, but unfortunately it wasn't. And I just wanted to, I didn't want anybody to, I felt like I was failing everybody and being a disappointment. So I wrote letters just to let them know, hey, I'm really sorry for being so awful, pretty much, and that I love them, and it wasn't my parents' fault or anything like that I turned out to be so weak. That was kind of the big thing for me. I'm just not really strong enough to really handle how things are going in my life, and I wish I was stronger, but honestly, I'm tapping out, and to put it in terms of, my job, it was a workout that was just too much for me, and I was just I can't complete this workout. It was as simple as that. And so I went ahead and wrote a post about it, just talking about this, what happened 6 years ago, and I I'm not rich. I'm technically my life is good, but when you have a good life and you're depressed, it's very easy to shame cycle yourself, where you shame yourself for feeling depressed when technically you have a good life. And then that makes you feel worse
Right.
because then you think, well, then if my life is good, why can I not fix this thing?
Yeah.
And then you it just keeps going, right?
Right.
And so I just spoke in the post, I'm not rich. I had a good life. Uh, you know, I went to work. I had friends. Like I had telltale signs, I'm sure, but I'm also the person that I understood I had to take my dog for a walk because it has to get done. I went to networking. I went to happy hours because that's what you do after work, like, and so the idea of people thinking, oh, it's like the person that sleeps all the time or never goes out or whatever.
Right.
You should be able to tell. You can't tell half the time.
Yeah.
And a lot of these things, it can be a very long, long journey of being depressed. And then it's just one day where you're like, this is just suddenly it just gets really bad.
Yeah.
And I don't think that a lot of people, they live in that, like, on the break of about to kill themselves for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, so it's not like, I think that there's a difference between living with depression, which is just you wake up and every day just kind of feels like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
I call it like every day has gray skies.
Yeah.
And you don't even really start to notice that every day has gray skies because like, yeah, last week was gray skies.
It
Tomorrow
becomes your norm.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, and when I actually started to come out of my depression, when I came out of my depression, actually, I should say, I remember going outside and being like, man, these skies are so blue. And it just like really hit me that like the skies are so blue. And it's not, I mean, obviously feeling like the skies are gray doesn't equate to them literally being gray,
Right, right.
like, but it was like suddenly the world just like looked brighter to me when I came out of my depression, or I should say when I fought my depression and actually won. But yeah, so I just went ahead and shared a post about it and just say, like, I'm not crazy. I'm not this person that you have to like tiptoe around.
Right.
Like I've made jokes about like oh, I tried to kill myself, like, ugh, not again, like, haha, like,
Right.
because the fact is that it's just a part of my history. It's just part of something
Right.
that's happened in my life, and it's not this thing that we have to like hush hush about. Like I've told my family about it, and now we can talk openly about like, well, I know how that feels because when I attempted suicide, I was really in that space, and the fact is that it's one of those things where you have to just roll it into your sentence and not like, when I attempted suicide, like it just has to be a part of just the conversation. And it was really, really cool to receive a lot of comments and from other people who, I've suffered from this type of thing before, or I know what you're talking about. And one of the main things I put in my post was the fact that it's not just people who are like, people think depression is this thing that you go into, it's like really, really big or whatnot, but everybody on the face of the planet goes through sadness or bouts of depression for different reasons. Like when you're going through puberty,
Right.
when like postpartum depression, when you are heartbroken, and when you life is just really hard, when the chemicals in your brain are off. Like there are
Right.
so many types of sadness and depression, and they can last for a short amount of time. They can last for a very long amount of time.
I feel like the depression is, in a sense, like when you said like the chemical imbalance, I feel like at some point, like for me with my depression, it felt like there was this like bioaccumulation of bullshit that I just was not addressing. And then like, or there was something that had happened and it had been so long, and like my brain, it was, the human brain is so powerful that it can just mask something and then just like, all right,
Yeah.
we'll just figure out a way to deal with this. And we'll just address that, whatever it was, or whatever those things were
Yeah.
at some point in time. And then if that never gets addressed, then it just manifests itself in a very destructive way.
Well, I mean, the human body, the human brain is much like the human body, where your body will find the path of least resistance
Yeah.
in order to function in the way that you are asking it to.
Yeah.
So, maybe I have a hip that's not working correctly, and I'm telling my body, well, I want to go run this marathon. It will get me through the marathon,
Right.
or it will break down doing so. But
Yeah.
it will find a way to make it happen,
Right.
right? And the problem is when we don't stop and recognize, hey, you know what, I'm asking my body to do something that it can't, or I
Right.
need to take care of it. The human mind is the exact same way, where something may happen in your life, and if you don't take the time to address it, work the maintenance on it, your brain will say, well, we have to function in day to day,
Right.
so like, let's replace this with something else.
Right.
That's why a lot of people, they are depressed, or they haven't dealt with issues from their childhood, or
Yeah.
past relationship.
Yeah.
They eat a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, their brain will find something to stimulate some type of joy so that you can get from day to day.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what happened to me in my depression. And once I actually went through therapy and going to addiction meetings and working all the way backwards, and what I like to call following the breadcrumbs, that was what I
Yeah.
actually was like, okay, I'm seeing how different events in my life got me to where I'm at.
Right.
And I mean, it's you can't ever fully explain away depression. I was depressed for upwards of 13 years, maybe
Right.
longer. And so there's a possibility that even if nothing bad had ever happened in my life, like, I would still be someone who's maybe a little bit more prone to depression.
Mm-hmm.
But it's where I'm at in my life now is, it's daily work to make sure that I never, like, start to regress at
Right.
all.
Right.
But it's also the fact that I address the daily work is addressing the things that got me to where I was when I was depressed. It's not being like, okay, we're not going to be depressed today. It's we're not going to let that comment from this person add up in the way it has in years past.
Right.
Of like, well, this is another example of how someone doesn't care about me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because that's what I used to do. And so, like, my daily work now is much more direct and intentional, and but also just not being depressed. It's so much different that I can really explain. So
Yeah. I think the methodology that you're using right now is super helpful. I think it's very healthy. Uh, I think one of the things that folks don't have is positive sources or positive means for conflict resolution, even if it's like intrapersonal conflict
Yeah.
resolution. Like, you don't have the tools to like really sit there and like sit yourself down, go off somewhere and be like, okay, this happened, and now I'm seeing that my grades are slipping, or I'm not hanging out with my significant other enough, and like, I don't have an issue with them, but yet I feel like I'm always arguing with them. It's manifesting somewhere, because then that always builds into something else bigger than whatever the issue is. And I think folks have to talk about this more, because you'll get to a point where you don't know who you are, because you've been operating in like this prey mindset, and you just have been like a victim of just your own design in a way, and you're lost, you don't have answers, and then you might get to a point where you could possibly try and take your own life, or
Yeah.
take somebody else's life, or
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I just got done. I'm working through editing a journal that I wrote that's about health and wellness. It's about setting goals, but the fact is that I've recognized that as a health professional, I can tell someone what to eat. I can give them workouts. I can put them through workouts all day long. They could lose the weight, but
Yeah.
if we don't address the reason why they got here, because the fact is that it's very easy to say, well, I'm busy. I just don't have the time.
Right.
X, Y, and Z, right?
do have the time.
But if
I mean,
it's something important to you, you find the time to make it.
Exactly.
And I don't even necessarily mean like in the cliche way that people say it, but the fact is that you have priorities in your life, right? And a person who is overall healthy mentally, emotionally, they are aware that they have to eat well, because they want to be able to function and do their job. They are aware that they have to move, because that's just a part of the trifecta. They're aware that they have to have time for themselves. They're aware that they have to be kind to others. So like, people who are pretty whole, they they put in time to be healthy, right?
Right.
And I'm not talking, be super lean or anything like that. I'm just saying they make time for it. So people who are like, I don't know, it just got away from me. I've just been busy. To me, that says there's a reason why I did not choose to maintain my own health.
Right.
And so I recognize, I could fix your weight all day long, but we're not addressing the reason why you ever got here. And
Right.
so I thought about my therapy sessions, my time in the circle, and I thought these are all exercises and tasks that I've done that really any person should be doing.
Right.
And I don't know why it's just relegated to people who have to go to therapy or people who have to sit around a circle every week and say like, hello, my name is Sarah, it's like, these are things that everybody could use.
Yeah.
And so I took them all and I put them all together into a journal because I really want to get people to look at mental health as just a part of the puzzle. And it really is okay to look at yourself, which a lot of people do. A lot of people don't take time to be by themselves. Yeah. The TV is going or the phone is on or, but to take time to be with ourselves and honestly say, you know what, I'm lonely. Because like the thing that people do not like the most is feeling weak in any way, shape, or form. So like people fight every single way that weakness presents. Like, well, I don't look as good as that person, so I'm going to work out more. I'm going to get fake hair. I'm going to do this, whatever. Like people hate the idea of being weak. And so be able to honestly say, you know what, I am lonely. It feels like crap to say it, but you can only fix the problem.
Yeah. There's a lot of power in acknowledging your weaknesses.
Yeah.
Like it gives you a lot of liberation.
Well, the funny thing is when I went to therapy after, I attempted suicide, I went to work out my day. I got the directory out and I was like, I should probably call a therapist. That's probably something I should do. Yeah.
Therapist.
Yeah. And so, and I, after a little while, I told my family, I'm going to therapy. I cannot tell you the amount of people who are like, that's so brave. I'm really proud of you. Yeah. Like that's so, I wish I was that strong. Like people saw me going to therapy as a strength that they did not have because they recognized that they were not strong enough to confront themselves. And the reason why I never went to therapy when I was younger, my mom wanted me to go to therapy after my dad moved out, was because I was like, I'm not weak. I don't need to go to talk about being weak. But I was fascinated at how I chose to do something because I ran myself into the ground thinking, I'm so weak, I'm so weak, I'm so weak, I'm so weak. And then I went and got help because I failed at my attempt. Yeah. And the reaction I got was that people were like, you're so strong. Yeah. I wish I had that. And so that's the first time that I was like, this is really fascinating. Like people see being able to be weak to someone else as a sign of strength. Yeah.
Being the point of being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Being,
and so I think that like on my Instagram, I was telling you before, I shared a post about being single. I hate saying, I've been single for 6 years. It'll be 7 years in November. I hate to say it because there are so many times when I say it, my brain goes through every single time I say, I've been single for 6 years. And I'm like, that sounds so long. And then I go like, someone's going to think something's wrong that you've been single for that long. And then no, remember, Sarah, like you have been finding yourself. You've been figuring yourself out. You've been busy. Like I have to go through a little cycle of like, oh, this sounds bad, to like reassuring myself and rationalizing it. But the fact is I've been single for 6 years, right? Yeah. There are 1,000 reasons for why I've been single for that long. And the only one that I trust and am fully content is that God wanted me single for this long. Whatever the reason is, whether I'm experiencing it now, whether it's for other people to be an example, or whether I'm going to find it out in later years, this is the story that I have, right? And so I shared being, like I've been single for this long. and I had to move my apartment. I had to move from one apartment to another, and I had to set up my apartment all by myself. And I cried that day. I got so frustrated. I like even like thinking about it. Like I remember how I felt. I was so frustrated because I'm trying to move this couch,
Yeah.
and I couldn't do it. I had to relinquish the fact that I'm not strong enough to move this couch by myself. And it's not like in here. It was like moving it
Into the
into
door.
the building.
Yeah, it's like maybe 20 feet.
Yeah,
15, 20
right.
feet? Yeah.
And I was so I finally got in here, and then I remembered how much stuff I still had to move from the other apartment.
Yeah.
And I sat down and I started bawling, and I thought it is so unfair. It is so unfair. I am alone doing this. I am a good person. I give to people. I am nice. I give of myself. I don't know what else I need to be to have someone, a partner here who's doing this stuff with me.
Yeah.
I was so angry, you know, and then I got up, I finished it,
Yeah.
you know, like, and I did whatever I had to do. And so then, oh, I have him here.
Okay, cool.
I
got your back, dog.
Thank you. So yeah, I finished doing it. I got here, I set up my apartment, and the next day, you know, I had taken a video of me doing all of it, and I posted it. And I thought, you know what, this is one of those moments where I need to just be myself to my Instagram followers. And so I posted the video, and I talked about it. I cried yesterday, and then I gave myself a Wonder Woman talk. I got up, I finished the work, and I remembered that God is preparing me for a great relationship, a great marriage. I'm going to be a woman that any man I'm with, he knows he can lean on me at any time, because I've carried the weight. I've carried the weight for 6 gosh darn years.
Yeah, literally
you know,
this couch that we're sitting on.
you know,
It looks
like
sturdy.
like, and I was just like, you know, like this is what I've learned about myself, and this is what I've learned about looking at other relationships while being single. And I shared my vulnerability to 25,000 people, you know, and
Yeah.
I received so much vulnerability back from people sharing, oh, I know what you're talking about. I've been lonely. I feel lonely. I've only been single for a year, and I'm so lonely.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, I am learning about myself. I am doing this. And so I've found that the way to talk about what we find as our flaws is just being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Just being like, hey, you know what? I'm going to share this with you guys. Just, you know, you're here. And you don't have to even respond. I'm just saying it.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's what I did. Like, you know, I don't even care if anybody likes this picture. I don't care. I think with the suicide one, I don't care if anybody comments or likes it. I need to post it.
Yeah.
You know, and because the fact is that I've begun to see that where I've been in my life, I don't think it's for me. I think it's for any random person that I happen to say, hey, you know what, this happened. And they don't comment on the post, they DM me and they say, Sarah, I want to take time to thank you for that post. I've been really low. I've been really struggling. And I feel like something's wrong with me. And reading that post reminded me, like, yep, nothing's wrong with me. I'm just struggling. Like, this is not a good time in my life. Maybe I just need to go talk to someone.
Yeah.
And you know, I can't help you through the phone. I absolutely want you to go talk to someone. There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah. Honestly, you will be such a better person for it.
I think the stigma behind it is just, now that I've gotten through what I was going through and like being able to see you go through your thing, it's just like, you go to a doctor anytime you break your arm. You go to a doctor if, you know, you're feeling like you got a stomach flu. You go to a doctor if you crack your head open.
Yeah.
But like, why wouldn't you? You're like literally like you're sick. Like, in a sense, you're sick. Like, if you're depressed like that to that point, like you're ill a little bit. And it's not like to say it in a shameful way. It's like your brain is an organ just like every other part of you. You know what I'm saying? So like, go see somebody.
Well,
talk to them.
You know, and it's crazy. Like, people will share to me like things that have happened in their past, and I think that people forget like things that are traumatizing that happened to you in your past. That affects you. It is the same idea as like, you know, being sick right now, and then if you got sick, you know where it came from.
Right. And I'd go to the
You'd go
store.
to, yeah, you'd go,
I'd do what I needed to
yeah.
do, and I'd get better.
Like, and so people, like, it is like true. Like, people don't think of it the same way. And, like me going through, like I said, like my breadcrumbs and seeing what happened in my life and confronting it, I would say this sounds weird.
That's free.
The biggest change I had in looking at things in a weakness mindset was because even going through therapy, I would cry and I'd talk about it and I'd be like, but I'm not weak. Like I always had to like, I'm not weak, like, and I decided in, what was it? December 2014 to go to Sex Addicts Anonymous because I was like, you know what? I think I have an unhealthy relationship with sex. I think I use it to deter a potential partner from seeing me because I'm so afraid of rejection. And being in that, and that's when I really started like breadcrumbing and diving into it. It's mostly because the first step, they make you write down your life history, right? And someone suggested to me because at 17 I was sexually assaulted twice, and someone suggested to me, they said, I think you should have a bit where you meditate and you talk to the 17-year-old self as you are now.
Yeah.
I was like, that sounds like hippie mumbo jumbo.
Hippy dippy.
Yeah, I was like, that sounds stupid. Thank you, but whatever. And it was multiple months until finally I was like, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
And I envisioned myself the day after I was assaulted. And assault sounds like weird, like someone like punched me. The night after I was raped, and I visualized myself just being like, hey, young Sarah, I'm really sorry that happened. It's not your fault. And then I can't even tell you, it was like I separated into two different people, and the young Sarah just started crying. It was like, but it is my fault. And the older Sarah just hugged her. Like, no, it's not. It really is not. Like I couldn't, like, I was crying. I felt so good, and it was so therapeutic. And it was the first time that I realized, like, I'm not weak at all. Like, these are things I have to do so I can be a whole person. I have to go back and collect myself throughout the years of where I've left myself. I've left myself in the backseat of a car. I've left myself at that rape. I left myself at the second rape. I've left myself with every guy who I knew only wanted my body. And what that manifested into was, like after the second time I was raped, it was by my first boyfriend, and he told me straight up, I don't think that you just understand, this is just who you are. And I took that as just an understanding of maybe I don't understand that what reality is, which is I'm here for my body. I thought I was here for more. God has told me that my whole life, but maybe I was wrong. And so going through that and breadcrumbing, it was such a direct line of like, I really established this behavior from those patterns and not dealing with them at the time. And now I'm sitting here at Sex Addicts Anonymous because I can't stop having a potential partner and being like, oh my goodness, he's going to get to know me and realize I'm not anything more than my body. And then he's going to reject me, and he's going to be rejecting me because of me.
Yeah.
Like that, I can't take it. And I would just veer everything into of space. And so again, when people think of the idea of being weak or not going to a therapist or not being with themselves and taking that time, I try to remind people, like, I don't think that you realize how much of yourself you leave along the way.
Yeah.
And how good it would be for you to go back and pick up all of those pieces. I feel so much more whole now than I can remember in probably since childhood.
Yeah.
And I can barely even remember childhood. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just because of recognizing that it's not weak to talk about stuff like that. Like, oh, you need to meditate with yourself. You need to sit with yourself. You need to go back and forgive yourself, like things like that. It's recognizing that if I want to get through the rest of this life in the most amount of peace and contentment and fulfillment as I can, like, this is stuff that needs to happen. So
we've known each other since college, and I feel like this is like the healthiest that I've ever seen you.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm astonished, astounded by just like how far you've come, and just like who I'm excited to see who you create yourself into
Well,
in the
thank
years
you.
to come.
Thank you.
In the beautiful city of Denver.
Oh, thank you.
With the pretty sunsets. If How do you think, if you had a conversation with 17-year-old Sarah now, like what do you think that would be?
You know, it would probably just be reassuring her that, like, you would not understand. You could not believe the line of journey we've taken to get here. But like at some point things are going to feel better.
Yeah.
Like, and because the thing is that, you know, I was 17. I was, you know, getting ready to go to college. I had a scholarship. I wanted to save myself to marriage. I thought I was going to get married at like 23. I was going to, you know,
Oh yeah.
all these things, you know,
yeah,
like
all those college dreams.
and and so I think that I look at points in my life where I've disappointed that person, and I think, man, like I really thought it was going to be more than I was, or you know, X, Y, Z. And the fact is that I think what I would tell her is we are still a very impatient little hip. We're still impatient, but for the first time, we actually kind of see a path.
Yeah.
I think that for so long in my life, and a lot of that has just been in that depressive haze,
Yeah.
I've felt so lost.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just wondering, and I've equated it to, I'm just throwing a lot of darts at a board.
Right.
And if any of them stick, I just go with it. You know,
Yeah.
like that type of thing. Because the fact is that when you're depressed, for me at least I should say, you're just like, I don't know.
No.
Like I just felt like that's how
Yeah.
I don't know.
It feels like every day is kind of the same, very dull,
Yeah.
blah. Even if it's like, oh, it's a party and all
Yeah.
this is happening, it's like,
Like, you know,
Okay.
oh, you should apply for this job. Yeah, you know, that seems like a good idea. You know, I mean, I don't know. You know, like
Yeah.
that's how I felt like I addressed everything.
Yeah.
And I knew, and like I knew I wanted more. And I always had that voice somewhere in me where it's like, but we're meant for something. And as I've gotten older, I've recognized that not everybody has that voice. And so I'm grateful for it. But I will say that that voice has added to depression at times, because I would hear that voice like, but we're meant for something.
Right.
And I'd be like, well, what? Like,
You're here with all
help
these
me,
criticisms.
Then like I'm
But what's the
drowning.
deal?
Like, and so I think the conversation, I actually, in the book I wrote, Girls Addiction,
Yeah.
there's one passage where I am trying to explain what addiction feels like. And I use, and this is loose because I can't remember the exact terminologies. It feels like you are drowning and you can't tell up from down. And then when the wave, you know, washes back, you try to climb back up, but then another text or call, guy, whatever, will show up and it just pulls you back down. And at some point you just kind of stop. You stop trying to get out. And I think I would tell her, listen, for a lot of life, it's going to feel like that.
Yeah.
Like a lot of life between now and then, it's going to feel like that, which sucks. But if you can push through, at some point, you're going to realize we do have a purpose. I can't tell it to you, but the feeling of knowing that you're coming up on it is worth this drowning feeling that you're going to have from now until like 31. Like,
I think in a way it's a benefit in a way not to know what's coming down the pipeline. I feel like if I could talk to me at 40 and see what's going on, then I would start maybe even arguing the point. I mean, like, nah, bro, like I want to do something else. Like that doesn't seem what it is. Like you idiot. This is going to be a great opportunity for you.
Yeah.
I should have told you anything. It's like you just start playing devil's advocate.
Well, I mean, the fact is that, I was telling my mom last year, technically, I am in one of the most stressful times of my life.
Yeah.
Financially rocky. Trying to build this brand and rebuild it, and it's like so slow going. I don't have, like, my friends are all starting their own businesses or they're married, and so I don't get to hang out with my friends that often. I'm very lame,
Whoa.
yeah,
I think you're pretty cool.
I've been lame my whole life.
The jokes are corny, okay? We can all agree the jokes are corny. But you've always been a great human being.
Thank you.
Always.
Well, you can be lame and great.
Exactly.
I'm okay with being lame.
True.
Like,
this is very true.
But and so I was telling my mom, like, I'm technically in one of the most stressful times of my life, with real life situations, right? But I am in my most fulfilled time, because at the end of last year, so like the path for me, I talk to the big guy regularly. The path for me was, at the beginning of last year, I was at my next to deepest time in my life, in depression, at the beginning of last year. And it was just because I got myself really deep. I backslid in my addiction, and it was deeper and bigger than I thought my addiction was, actually. And so I was struggling. And I remember, I was in a period of time where I was having a hard time leaving my apartment. I could leave leave to walk my dog, but I really was having a hard time doing much else. And I sat up in my bed, and I literally just screamed. I said, God, if you do not fix this, then we have a problem. Either you fix this, or I am ending this. I'm going to succeed this time. Like, we're not doing this. And I said, I refuse to wake up. If you saved me originally, knowing I would wake up every day for the next 40 years feeling like this, I was like, no, I am not doing it.
Yeah.
So you either fix it, or you let me end it.
Yeah.
I yelled that up, went to bed. And then in the next month was when I started all of a sudden feeling better, being better, and then and I actually conquered depression, and for me, I was just like, I can't believe this is how I feel. I can't, I've been living in sarcophagus for 13 years, this is amazing. But then towards the end of last year, God put me in a state where my finances, my bills, money was coming just as I needed it. Yeah. But the rent would be due, and I would, hey God, the rent is due. I need people, I need clients, I need people to
stop on it. Hold up.
I need these things. And then I would have a client, hey, you know what? I don't know why, but is it okay if I pay you for the next 2 months? Yeah, please.
Okay.
And and I think that God was putting me in a position to force me to say, I trust you.
Right.
Because he was just showing me, I will give you what you need when you need it.
Right.
You don't need tomorrow's bread. You don't need tomorrow's mana. You need today's.
Yeah.
Trust me for it, right?
Yeah.
So I put myself in a position of complete stop. I didn't grow my business. I didn't work on promoting anything. I didn't work on rebranding. Everything was telling me, just stop. Wait. That was all I kept hearing. Wait. And I kept trusting God will let me know. God will let me know. At the beginning of this year, out of nowhere, I need to write this journal. I need to pivot more towards mental health.
Right.
I need to share my depression.
Yeah.
I need to talk about this stuff. You know what? I need to go. And God put the right people. One of my clients is a marketing strategist, and I just happened to be talking. Oh, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, I'm working on my journal. Well, what's your journal about? Oh, X, Y, Z. Have I ever told you what I do? Well, can I help you? Can I help you with your whole brand? I mean, I can't afford you. I don't want you to pay me.
Okay.
Thank you. Like oh, you need a new website. I don't know. I can't afford a new website. My friend Alex, hey, you know what? I believe in you so much. I know you're good. I know you are going to be so successful. I want to do it. I want to contribute to who you're going to be. Thank you. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
people just start positioning themselves. So that's why like right now I'm impatient because things have slowed down. I've been sick and I'm back into that slight period of like, you better trust me. Like you gotta trust me.
Exactly right.
And so it's insane for me to think about where I'm at and how like this trajectory, it just keeps like it's all
Yeah.
over the place.
You ever seen those maps? Well, it's like a little. It's on Instagram. And it's like, oh, what people think success looks like, and it's like this gradual exponential growth line.
Yeah.
And then the other one's like it's like what you think it'll be, and the reality is like this squiggle that just keeps going back in and on itself.
Yeah.
It's like
Well,
up and down, left, right, like all over the place.
the other problem that people forget is, and this is what I was saying to you, people never define to themselves what success is.
Yeah.
To them.
Right.
There are plenty of people that I look at and I think I can't imagine your life. They're married to a husband, they got their couple kids, they're maybe a housewife, but to them they're living the dream. This is all they've ever wanted.
Right. And success should be subjective.
Yeah. And so for me, when I started SA Hips, I started trying to build it, there were multiple times where I had to check myself and be like, Sarah, are you doing this for attention? Are you doing this for the hopes that you'll have more than enough money?
Right.
Are you doing this for the hopes that you're the next Jillian Michaels? Like what do you want?
Right.
Because I recognize that stopping myself and checking myself was the difference between me posting a gratuitously sexy post versus something that had more meaning.
Right.
And now I'm in a space where I cannot see the full picture. But I know I'm on the right path. And it's so hard to describe that to someone. The idea that the idea that you can walk outside on the sidewalk and you've walked the sidewalk 1,000 times and it's foggy, so you can't really see in front of yourself, but where the step is and where you turn and it. That's how I feel. Like I feel like I know this path. I know it.
Right.
I cannot see it to save my life, but I just know I'm going in the right direction. Right. And it's like, for me, my success is so absolutely becoming tied and it's not about me. Like I just keep coming back to, I don't think it's about me at all.
Right.
Like it would be great if I have an overabundance of money. I would love to be able to take care of my parents. Like I want to be able to do things with that money.
Of course.
But I just keep coming back to the idea that it's not about me.
Well, you say that, and it takes me back to being on Guam, and I remember like I was in some weird space mentally, and it was like all this noise, and all of a sudden it got really quiet, and I felt like I was just like in the presence of God in some way, and all I remember this voice like speaking from within me saying like, you either become a lesson for others or you learn from the lessons of others. And I always kind of took that in a negative way in a sense, whereas like, oh, I'm going to see this person like do something messed up and this is going to be the repercussions. But the way you're saying it now, it's kind of like changing it, where it's just like, this can be a lesson in faith. You can be a lesson in faith for other people.
Yeah. I think that, so I always try to remind myself, my mom, when she went through, before I was born, she went through chemotherapy, she had cancer. And my mom is someone I get emotional, I love her.
I know you do.
And I've said this before, I will say it again. I think that she has been given an unfair life. She's such an amazing woman, but she's had cancer. She's been left. She's struggled with knowing that she's loved by her family, and I can't love her more
Right.
than I, like, but I wish that this woman just, there was never a day where she woke up not alone and not knowing that everybody loved her, right?
Yeah.
But here's a woman who, you know, lost children, like had miscarriages, which led to a cancer. She's had a tough life.
Yeah.
And she will tell you today, like she believed years ago, 30, how old am I? 32, 33, 34, or 35 years ago when she had cancer. She goes, I was put in a hospital room with a woman who didn't believe in God. And I would pray all the time. And every time that I would have a hemorrhage, every time that something bad would happen, I would pray harder. And one day this woman said, how can you pray to a God who's put you here? And she goes, well, he's my God. I trust him. I know him. I know him. He is my God. And she's like, when I left, that woman said, you know what? I came to God from watching you practice your faith. And my mom said, I believe I was there. That's why I was there. And it reminds me, and when my mom tells me, it reminds me of the story of how, in the fields, the shepherd, he goes after the one lost lamb. The majority is good, but you always have to go after that last one. And so what I was saying to you earlier, I believe it wholeheartedly. So when I was younger, I want to say 13 or 14, I was prophesized over that I was going to lead people. I mean, I was going to lead, not just like a room of people. I was going to lead millions of people. Right. Now I'm told this at 14 and I'm like,
no pressure.
How? Like, did he happen to mention how I was doing this? Because I'll go do it. Like I was. Like,
I want to be obedient.
Just
give me some
tell
rules.
me a little instruction. Is it in finance, real estate? So I literally struggled with that for years. Every year that it would pass and I haven't done anything.
Yeah.
I would grow concerned, and I'm not joking. That actually added into my depression because I kept thinking, God has all these expectations for me, and I'm not doing anything. And so what we were talking about earlier, and what I've come to recognize with what I'm doing and this path that I know I'm on, that's correct, but I don't even know what it looks like, is the idea that if me talking about depression, if me talking about being single, being lonely, fighting through lack of confidence growing up because I was Black, because this, that, whatever. If talking about this stuff and writing a journal, maybe writing a book after that, doing whatever comes up that is the right thing for me to do, if I do all this stuff and I die in this one bedroom, 666 square foot apartment with financial rockiness and alone, but one person does not end their life because they heard my story, does that make what I'm working on worthwhile? And to me, it does, and I want to believe that everything that has happened in my life is like my mom. I was put there. I said what I did. I took the actions I did. I'm sharing whatever I am because of just the one person. God placed me, So.
Yeah. Man, I don't think there's a lot of people that would be able to saddle up and have that same optimism or that same viewpoint when it comes to that. Like, people want that reward now. They want the reward now. They want the grandiose glamour. They want the love and the affection and all the cool stuff, the cameras and the bright lights that come with it. Excuse these cameras, because they're doing their job right now. But and it's amazing, and I wanted to talk to you about that too, like how you interpreted your faith and how your faith brought you through everything that you've gone through. Because I've known you for a long time, and I know like your faith is a very key part of who you are. And like, you define yourself as a Christian first and foremost. So now, even if you and I have differed on some things in the past, I 100% respect and love the fact that you still, throughout everything, have been able to still fall on your faith and really just, let it guide you and let it still be a part of the process of you creating who Sarah A. Hips is going to be, like, down the line.
I mean, I think that it was ingrained in me when I was young because I was called like the miracle baby because, my mom wasn't supposed to be able to have kids.
Yeah.
But I would say that, in my younger years, so when when my dad moved out, I kind of, my mom needed me to be there for her.
Yeah.
And I hate to use the term like take care of, but there were times where I felt like I was like taking care of my mom, and there were times where we would talk and I would say things and I wasn't saying it. Like I was 13.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that I had the mental cognizance to spew what I was saying.
Astute stuff, dropping those.
And I think I was just I think God was just using me to like say what He needed to say to my mom to help at the time, right?
Yeah.
But I would say that there's just been too many instances of God showing up for me to act like He's not there,
right.
And like just the fact that I didn't die, I don't remember making myself throw up. I don't remember throwing up. I don't know how any of that happened. All I know is that I planned to not be awake, and God was like, no. Like, we're not doing that yet, right?
Say, not today.
Yeah, not today, same day. Like, and,
with it.
But like, there's so many times where God has shown up for me when I don't deserve it. Like being someone who's gone through sexual addiction,
Right.
I should have a disease or I should be pregnant,
Well, I think that oftentimes we look at, the things we've done on a very human standpoint, and based on our understanding of how we're supposed to be punished, we feel as if like we deserve all of these things. And, I think God's a lot more forgiving than we actually realize.
Yes.
Like, whoa, lady, chill out. Like,
yeah.
you're not Hitler, like, chill out.
Yeah.
It's just easy there.
Well, it's like, and I say like that I should be in a worse predicament.
Yeah.
Not from a punishing standpoint, but from a reckless. I've been reckless with my body and my life.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I have I think another thing that helps is, I have a very simplified view of my relationship with God. A lot of people, I'm so sorry, Lord. Please do not spite me.
All flailing themselves. Nights is like,
my relationship with my God is a father.
Yeah.
And I personally would like to believe I'm in a toddler position in my life where I'm walking.
I get it.
Right? I was in a very baby crawling position for a while, but I'm up and walking now, but I see a lot of what I choose to do in my life, what I've done in my life, where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to call that guy again that's hurt me and only used me for my body. And God's like, that's not going to work out the way you think it's going to. And I'm like, okay, I heard you.
Here she goes.
Yeah.
And
the fact is that parents, when they have a toddler, they know that their toddler is going to pick up the thing that they told them not to pick up 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And they're going to jump off of the couch and break an arm.
Yeah.
Or the kid is going to put themselves in reckless, dangerous situations 24/7. And it's his job ultimately to, like, the kid goes to touch the stove and he just block. It block. And so I see my reckless behavior in my life as God, me just constantly being like, are you sure it's not hot? And he's like, block. And I'm like, okay. Like, are you sure? Block.
So I was telling a joke.
Exactly. Like, I run full face into traffic and he's just holding the back of my pants. Like, anyway, and I'm just like, no, let me kill myself. Let me go at it, and it's so easy for me to, I think, to have those moments where I'm just like, it's the way that I would call my own mom or my own dad right now and say, Mom, Dad, I'm struggling. Like, I don't know what you want me to do.
Yeah.
I have those conversations with God. I will ride my bike and I'll be like, God, you did a great sunrise today. I just have those conversations. And so for me, I literally can't fathom for the amount of times that he showed up for me to be like, you've showed me without a shadow of a doubt that you are in my corner. I'm gonna do this though.
Yeah.
Like, well, like, please go away. Like, because the fact is that even for the amount of bad that he's put me in, I see how it turns out good in my life. And, like, I believe without a shadow of a doubt, I mean, I prayed everything for me coming to Denver was ordained. I prayed about it. I said, God, if you want me to come, I have to get a severance package of this month, but this much. 20 minutes later, email, ding, that much. Oh, okay. Like,
try me again.
Yeah, like,
make it harder.
and so, like, I prayed about this trip. I even let an apartment go because my dad was like, "Did you pray about it? Yeah. Did you get an answer? No. Then don't sign the lease." Like, and I prayed. I came here. Oh, like, nature, sunrises, sunsets, dogs, life is great. And then boom, I was outside of my comfort zone. I was outside of my support circle. I had been in a women's only SAA meeting in Virginia. I came here, co-ed meeting. I'm okay. I don't have a support system at all because I don't know anybody here. I'm okay. I got this. And then I just tailspin hard, like, and now because I had that confrontation with God, because I backslid, I thought I had my addiction and my depression under control in Virginia because I was in a bubble and I had padded everything.
Right.
And being here, he forced me.
Like a midterm, like a final exam.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you did well on your home turf. Like, well,
like,
your
it was literally like he was like,
your final for the semester.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry about this, but honey, buddy, you are not good. Like, I'm gonna let you see. And honestly, my relationship, after I got out of depression, after I got away from the person I was dealing with, after I got myself back right, I got baptized. Like, and my relationship with him is so much more sturdy. And I absolutely see it as God saying, I need you to be ready for what I have for you.
Yeah.
We need to get the last of this pride or this sense of control you have.
Yeah.
We need to get it out because you can't receive what I'm going to give you. And so, like, like, I'm so thankful for everything that God's done in my life. And I see him working in me. I see him working in my surroundings. And the fact is that I take a slightly progressive approach to my Christianity where, like, I probably post stuff on my Instagram that, like, if Jesus was sitting right next to me while I posted it, he'd be like, really? Like.
Are you referring to the more risque, more artistic?
Scantily clad.
But I don't think that the shame that comes with, I guess the societal shame what women do with their body. I don't know if that's necessarily just from Christianity. I feel that's more so possibly some humans and their demons. Like, wait, make them wear more clothes in Publix. Yeah, make them feel bad about it.
Well, like, I.
But I get it for personally, if you feel more comfortable.
No, the thing is that I still post that stuff.
Yeah.
But the fact is that I've had to explain this to people. Being someone who is a recovering sex addict, being someone who has identified so long and so much with her body.
Yeah.
I see when I post something that is a little more maybe risque.
Yeah.
It's a form of me being like, you know what? I accept that I am a sexy woman. I am a sexual woman as well. This is something I've learned to control about myself.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to be someone who denies a part of who they are. So, like, it's possible that if I was someone who maybe, chemically, hormonally, whatever, was less of a sexual person, maybe I would be an alcoholic right now. Maybe it would manifest a different way.
Somewhere else, yeah.
But the fact is that it's hard to explain to people the idea that for me to be my best self and also my best Christian self, I have to just take who I am as all parts and be like, you know what? I am someone who does like to feel sexy.
Right.
I can control how much stock I put into that though.
Right.
And how I use it. And so yeah, like sometimes I post stuff, but at the same time, I don't see it. I don't see the Sarah that is in that picture the same as the person that
Right.
was a couple years ago, right?
Right.
I see someone just be like, "Hey, I I I do like the body I am
Right.
in, and I get it from working out like this. I get it from doing this. I get it from being mentally, emotionally, and physically active and healthy." A couple years ago, it would be please look at my body and then let me know that you agree it's good. Like it was so validation based. But like to wrap up your original thing. I would I think that coming back to my faith all the time is just because I've made it a point in my life where this is something I cannot deny.
Right.
And I've seen what happens in my life when I try to take control. And I drive myself over a cliff when I'm in control.
Yeah.
And I've been my absolute best when I have said, you know what, God, you can drive the car. I will let you drive the car. And I've only gotten to that point in my life in previous times when I am inches from driving over the cliff. And then I go, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, please do that. Please take it, please take it, please take it. And God's veered me back on the right path every single time. And I've realized, Sarah, instead of getting to that point of calamity,
Right.
let's just practice saying you can drive. Period.
Right.
And I've seen how that's changed my life, and it's changed it so much more for the better that now I'm like, it just does not make sense to regress. It doesn't make sense to go back. And that's a daily practice because it's very much tied into my addiction, which is a constant battle of we don't need to go back to that person. We don't need to go back to who we were or how we interacted or what we were doing. And so my faith is very much tied in, and also look at what God has done with us when we've given him the control. When we try to take control, we become a person who is unhealthy to ourselves, and it manifests a lot in a sexual way. So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you've learned yourself and you understood that you have to accept yourself as as a whole, and that your strength is more on a spectrum versus it being this hierarchical thing.
Yeah.
And folks have to give themselves room to fail, give themselves room to forgive themselves,
Yeah.
because we are human.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's been a beautiful journey, man. And I'm so happy just to know you as a friend.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job as well.
You better stop. Let me blush now here. But I this is a good point to stop it here. And thank you again, man. This is awesome.
Thanks.
And yeah, go check out all her stuff. Where can they interact with you and talk to you, or they want to get some information?
All of social media is SA Hips, HIPPS.
There's 2 P's.
On everything.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, like my Snapchat messages are open to the public, my Facebook, my Instagram. And I love having conversations with people. I love answering questions. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks. Thank you again. Thank you a million times. And until the next time.
Oh, I hope I've done some stuff before then.
Oh, I'm sure you will. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Night, Joe.